Hi guys!
Hey everyone!
Welcome to Make 2 and a Sims 4 speed build. We're going to be building this beachside cottage. We're going to build it on this lot in the new Sims 4 Cats and Dogs expansion pack. And as you can see, this lot is a little weird. The road here has got a barrier. And there's no real way to approach the lot other than along this sandy path here under the road and over to this like parking space across the road. So for those reasons, I'm actually going to build this house facing the ocean instead of facing the road, if that makes sense.
Well, that makes sense on multiple reasons for me, because why not build a beach house facing the beach?
Exactly. You want to take advantage of those gorgeous ocean views. And to that end, I'm actually going to be building a really large porch area, as you can see here, because I like to think of the Sims living in this as being people who just sit on the porch and enjoy the ocean breezes. Mm-hmm. And as you can see, the foundation is also really tall because, well, I grew up in an oceanside town, and most of the beach houses that I saw in that town were really high up. They were like up on stilts, or their foundations were because there's always a risk of flooding or storm surge. You know, if there's like a big hurricane or just a huge storm that brings the water level up, you want to make sure that your house is elevated above the potential storm surge or the water level of the flood. Does that make sense, guys? So that is why the foundation on this house is super tall, and I had to I don't know if you could tell, but I had to move the house backwards a little bit just to make room for the stairs to fit in as well.
Yeah, so now you need moving the rooms to make sure that front porch is still nice and sizable so people can sit out there. Yeah, I've definitely seen these places before by the beach where actually you have a carpool underneath the house because that's where the spare space is.
Yeah.
So this makes sense to me. You can imagine maybe a supercar, a sports car could fit under there. Very slow, one of those very low profile sports cars.
Yeah. Well, as you can see, I am going for a sort of grayish blue color. You're going to see that throughout the house. There's going to be a lot of these ocean sort of colors, grayish blue, light sea green, gray, generally. That's going to be shown on the outside of the house as well as the inside. So I think I've not done a speed build for quite some time on the channel. And you're going to see why, because, well, first of all, this video is rather long for a speed build, and that's because it took me a really long time to build it in real life. I think we've sped this up to 500%. Yeah, basically, I'm just not very practiced in building in Sims 4 compared to, obviously, Sims Freeplay, and it just takes me a really long time to do things. And even with cuts, this video is coming out to over half an hour, I think.
Yeah, but still, when you do Sims Freeplay, when you do Let's Builds, you have practiced that house before. You've already made it and you're making it again. I think speed builds are really hard. There are obviously some people on YouTube who make them amazingly first time, but I think most builders, certainly both of us, it takes a little bit longer. So hopefully those people who takes a long time, this video can help show you not to be discouraged by the fact it's taking you a long time, because it takes us a really long time.
Yeah, actually,
I've never done a speed build because it would just be a mess.
No, but I think that's the thing. You just kind of have to be brave about it, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. Because, yeah, this is actually not my first attempt building this house. I had a couple of attempts that I had to, well, more than a couple really, but I had a few attempts where I just had to start over again because I was like, this is taking way too long. And then finally you just get to a point of no return. Once you're 2 hours into a build, you're like, I'm not going to redo this over again, so I'm just going to make a video out of this somehow. And that's what I did. I got far enough into it where I was like, I can't do this over again. And
that's the spirit.
Yeah, and the thing about these speed build videos is that you can just edit. You can cut things. You're going to see later in the video, I spend a really long time on the kitchen, for instance, furnishing the kitchen, decorating the kitchen. And when I was looking over the speed build portion, or, when I was editing this to put it together for our commentary, I was like, I can't, in good conscience, show 5 minutes straight of decorating the kitchen. I'm just going to cut it. And I did, and it's fine. Hopefully you guys won't even mind. You won't care that I spent, what's 500%? 5 minutes. Would
25 minutes.
Exactly, I would have spent
that's not that
long.
bad in real life, though. I think that's part of the joy about games like Sims 4, any really cool game that we enjoy. You can lose yourself in the game. And certainly for us, a large part of Sims 4 is building, obviously playing with our Sims 2, but you can get lost in the building experience, and that's fine. Obviously, if you want to show it off to people in a speed build, that's when you need to get on that cut button in your video editor of choice. I think when I'm just building, I often will, like, I'll be at the view you're at, and then I'll go inside, then I'll go to the back, then I'll go back to the front. I just think it'd be really confusing. Like, my camera would just be zooming around the whole time. You're doing this in a very, even though it's 500%, it feels pretty stable.
Oh,
You're building one area at a time. You're moving on to the next area.
No. You'll see. I'll be moving on into the inside as well. This is another thing that we've talked about in probably the last speed build that we did, which was a really long time ago. But my tendency to build from the inside out as opposed to from the outside in. Like, I think a lot of Sims 4 people who mostly play Sims 4, they build from the outside starting first, and then they go into the inside and do the decorations and stuff like that. That has always been just a foreign way of building to me. Like, I need to know that the rooms inside fit together before I ever do anything on the outside. So with this build, I'm actually, as you can see, building from the outside first and trying to challenge myself to do that kind of building first. And, make the outside look at least decent before I start going inside. But at some point, I'm like, I can't help myself. I have to go inside and start decorating inside. So yeah, this whole building on the outside is not going to go on for very much longer. You're going to see me going inside and decorating inside, and then also coming back outside and redoing things based on how the inside is going.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of a outside first in many games, and I will even put the windows in from the outside, and those are the things that I most likely need to move once I've decorated inside.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, okay, where should the walls go? I must make the walls inside fit with my outside structure. Whereas, yeah, you said you normally do it the other way, but this building is certainly coming along really well. It's 2.5-story.
Just 2 stories, yeah. Why do you think 2.5?
I think because you were building some things on the 3rd floor, but then you turned those into...
That was me realizing that I still don't know how to do roofs very well, so yeah. And I think there's also something to be said for the fact that this is a relatively simple house. It's not architecturally very boundary pushing, I guess. It's 2 floors. There's not a lot of variation between the floors. Like, it's basically like one floor on top of another. It's boxes on top of boxes. Keeping it simple, I think, also meant that I was more comfortable doing a speed build for video as opposed to like trying something more ambitious, which would have taken even longer and probably would have required a lot more deletion.
Yeah, but I like what you've done here. You've put the fireplace next to this chimney stack.
Yeah, definitely, of
which
course.
You obviously don't have to do at all in Sims 4, but does make logical sense in the real world.
Yes.
And yes, it is kind of simple in the overall shape, but that's why I think it's important to spend extra time on things like the roof to make sure the whole building does hang together. Because you can have a simple box in a house and it look great, and another one that looks awful because it's in those small details.
All right, so as you can see, I am doing the inside now because I can't help myself. I just need to make sure that what I'm building is actually livable and will make sense. So I have gone for some more of this like sea green and gray in the wallpaper, as you can see all around. But for the furniture in the living room, I'm going for slightly warmer tones, like kind of yellows and beige. And that's just to give like a little bit of contrast. I don't want the whole house to look cold and watery, if that makes any sense. So what I've got right here, like a couple of bookcases on either side of the fireplace. And I think of that as being like a built-in bookcase. You know how a lot of houses have that kind of thing going on?
Yeah, around the fireplace, having these long shelves built in. Yeah, they look really good. And I love these chairs.
Yeah, a lot of these are from the Cats and Dogs expansion pack. They just give us a lot of this new kind of cushy looking furniture, really like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like not too modern or elegant, but just like really nice and traditional and cozy. Get cozy, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. Like we're building a cottage. Before we recorded this video, I should have put together a list of keywords that I could refer to, because when I'm talking in the moment and watching the screen at the same time, it's hard to make my brain say the word that I'm wanting.
So here's a question.
Yes.
I wonder, of Sims 4 people who make videos, are any of them realtors? Because I reckon if you're a realtor and you're describing the house you've made in Sims 4, you'll have those 15 adjectives to describe the house at your fingertips because it's your profession. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I have no idea. Architects, I know there are architect students who play Sims 4, but I'm not sure how much interior decorating type of stuff they do in real life. I mean, obviously in Sims 4 plenty, but I don't know. So yeah, this kitchen you can see that I'm building here, it's going to completely change. The counters are going to change direction, all of that, and I'll be cutting it. You'll see.
Yeah, kitchens are really... I think for you, once you've got the kitchen nailed in a house, the rest of it comes together. But you struggle a lot to get the kitchens exactly right. You definitely take more care over them than I do. And I think that for you is the heart of the home and the heart of the build as well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the kitchen is where, like, all the most important things... I mean, other than the bathroom, of course.
And watching TV. And playing video games.
Anyway, the kitchen is where you make food, and I love cooking and I love eating, and so the kitchen obviously is the most important part of a house and also of a build for me. I think this is going to end up being one of my favorite kitchens that I think I've ever done in any building game, and you're going to see why later in the video.
Okay.
But yeah, this is me just playing around. These countertops are from the Parenthood pack, I do believe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they really fit that kind of trendy farmhouse chic style, which is all the rage nowadays thanks to HGTV. And let's see. Oh yeah, I'm kind of making this staircase... it looked weird to begin with. Like, I think the staircase was one of the hardest things for me to, like, come to grips with because it's kind of sitting just in the middle of the house like this. But what I've done is I put a powder room on the back wall, and on the back of the staircase I've got, like, a little coat closet. So for me, it makes the staircase fit into the house a little bit more. Like, it's a little more functional and not just like a freestanding weird staircase.
You can still walk but underneath the staircase
Yeah.
to get from the kitchen to the
Yeah.
living area.
Yeah, I also didn't want the kitchen to be too closed off from the living area. I wanted there to be still a sense of not exactly open plan, but just openness, and the idea that like there's a flow through the house where things are not too closed off. Like if you're in the living room and you just want to grab a drink from the kitchen, you
Yeah.
should be able to do that without having to like go into a dark hallway or
Yeah, no,
go
I get
into
you.
a totally closed off room or something.
And if you want to run laps around the floor, you can. You can just run around in circles.
Yes, it is a circular house. So I really love these counters or these cabinets, but it just drives me nuts every time that the end piece of the counter like is an end piece and the counters are not all the same width.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Sims 4 has made countertops or cabinets, the upper part of a cabinet, to be like there's an end piece which is slightly skinnier than the middle piece. So you can't really mix and match the cabinets up top. Like they have to be placed in a really precise way to make sense. Otherwise, you're going to have weird gaps because they're not all the same width. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, is that it then? Because I know there's definitely a difference in width between the islands and the counters and the wall-hanging units, but it's the end pieces that throw everything off, is it?
yeah. And it just drives me nuts. Like,
But
you
they're
can
the good
see.
ones.
Exactly.
Because there's not that much variation in the actual patterns you have.
Yeah.
Well, I really like those tall ones, those ones which have shelves going all the way down to the countertop.
Yes.
You obviously can't have too many of those because you still want to have your precious countertop.
Oh, this is me having finally figured out the kitchen. I decided I'm
Okay.
going to have a huge island with a stove and oven in the middle of it. That was me, like, not nailing the kitchen, I would say, but just, like, figuring it out.
Yeah.
This is the kitchen that I want to have. An island in the middle, lots and lots of counter space around the edges of the room, and yeah, that was it.
Good. Yeah. I think that's a really nice setup because I think then you can kind of cook and because you're spending most of the time when you're cooking either chopping or literally at the stove.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is a very sociable place to put the oven and stove.
Yep.
I often wonder like how much backsplash is there? Does oil spray all over that whole countertop behind?
Yeah, I don't know. My parents are, well, they're talking about remodeling their kitchen now, and they're going to do a sort of similar setup, not with an island exactly, but just with the stove set into a counter, like the same way, sort of like this. And I don't know what they're going to do in terms of messiness, because they do a lot of like stir frying and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and that can get a little spitty out of the pan.
Yeah, they were going to have something that looks very similar to this was their last plan, but I don't know if they're going to do it. They were talking about it last Thanksgiving, so
They've been talking about it for a while.
yeah.
Yeah, if only remodeling in real life was as easy as it is in Sims 4. If only.
That would be nice.
Okay, so as you can see, I'm back on the outside of the house, putting in windows. We talked about that earlier. Windows are the things that often have to change as you change the configuration of rooms. Oh yeah, this is the dining area, by the way. I'm going for this like rustic farmhouse look, and again, the colors are a bluish gray kind of thing. And yeah, just kind of setting out windows in the living room now.
My favorite piece of furniture, maybe those shelves thing in the kitchen, but that bay window seating nook thing.
Yeah, did you see that? That was the first piece of furniture that I placed in the house.
You made that nook specifically for that piece of furniture, it feels like.
I did indeed.
It's good, I like it.
I'm actually going to put another one on the upstairs of the house as well.
As you should.
So yeah, this is the powder room that I mentioned before. Powder room is just a room with a sink and a toilet, 2-piece bathroom. And that's just for guests to use. And it's nice to have a downstairs toilet so you don't have to climb upstairs. And here I am, let's see, what am I doing?
Lighting.
Lighting. It's good to have lighting when you build, especially for a speed build, because I'm conscious of the fact that like maybe I can see everything fine when I'm in the middle of building, but when it's a video, it's hard for people to see what's happening when there's no light in the room.
Yeah, specifically, I think YouTube also seems to make videos dingy, like across the board. They make them a little bit darker for people than when we see them ourselves. And look how much those lights just change the feel of the place as well.
I'm actually going to change those lights out for the final version though, because I didn't realize at the time that I was placing them, but these circular lights on the right side here, they have, it's rope, that pattern around it. No, it's cool for a restaurant, which is where they are located in one of those, dockside restaurants. Not for a house. Personally, I don't want to have a rope light in my house. So I'm going to change that, I think, later to one of those circular Japanese paper lanterns, I believe.
Non-rope.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're starting on the second floor and working out your floor plan here. Looks like there's going to be a couple of bedrooms.
Yes, it's going to be a 2-bedroom house. There's a room at the top of the stairs that's going to be the upstairs bathroom, which is going to be a full bathroom. And as you can see, it's sort of on top of the powder room downstairs, which makes sense plumbing-wise. You know, you want the plumbing to be, if you can, have the plumbing be in like the same area of the house. We have had some real-life plumbing adventures, especially with the freezing cold temperatures we've been having in our town. The past few days, we've had an issue with frozen and burst pipes.
Yeah, our first experience, probably in hindsight, we should have done something to stop that happening.
Yes, but now we know, but
yeah, now we know.
Hindsight is 20/20.
But also we got weird pipes, but now they're slightly less weird because we threw money at the problem.
Yes, and again, if only redoing things like that were as easy and cheap in real life as they are in Sims 4.
Although I would kind of like, probably a little bit masochistically, but it would be cool to have a building game where you actually had to even do things like put in the wiring and put in the plumbing and stuff.
No, why would you want that?
Because then I'd learn more about how houses are built. To be like, oh, well, I really want to put the waste pipe over here, but then it's going to get in the way of the Ethernet cable. I don't know.
Sims 4 for me is...
That's detailed enough.
Sims 4 is fantasy for me, and I don't think I would have very much fun playing a house which had, like, real-life aggravations.
Like plumbing emergency!
Yeah, as you can see, there is an open space down to the living room, and that is just because I wanted there to be, like, it's a cottage, but I like for there to be double height ceilings. I'm inspired by Sims Freeplay, which recently added a double height feature to the game, and I just like the idea of this landing space being a place to add more sunlight, more air to the downstairs living room, and I guess the upstairs as well, because, yeah, you have that ability to look down.
Yep. No, I think it's very good. I think I've done it a little bit in a couple of my builds. I think it works out very nicely and does just give the house immediately a much more open feel.
Yeah.
Certainly in real life, if you were to walk into it, it would strike you immediately there was a double height ceiling there.
All right, so the kitchen, by the way, I've put in this sort of brick tile for the walls. It's meant to be like a subway tile, which is pretty trendy as well. I don't want to say trendy, it's actually like classic and trendy. So trendy because it's classic, I guess.
Right.
Anyway, so that's for the kitchen, and it's in this like sea green color, and that gives me a reason to put in this archway in between the kitchen and the dining room. I think that works really well.
Yeah, to separate out the decorating style between the two.
Yeah, definitely. And you'll see me adding archways between the dining room and the stairway area, the entry area as well. So I think that works out really well. The fact that you can have these sort of tied in decorating scheme with these archways.
Yeah. And you said before, like, you were in the middle of doing the second floor, you've now come back down to doing the first floor.
Exactly.
You were doing inside, you're now doing outside. Okay, well, maybe I could try recording the next thing I build.
I think you should, so that I don't have to.
Yeah. Although I'm halfway through one of mine, I'm just doing the interior of now. I haven't touched it in like a month, but I do need to finish that one off. That won't be a speed build, but maybe the one after that, I'll try and do a speed build.
Yes, that's what I say. Do it. Okay, so what am I looking at here? Putting in curtains. Yes, curtains are always fun. Curtains are like one of the things that I can spend forever doing, and they really, I think, give a feel of character to a room, so they're important. And I just wish that there were more. It's nice that they've had curtains in basically every pack that we've gotten recently. Like, they've added new ones, but if we were still just playing the base game, like, I remember feeling how limited the curtains were. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I find it difficult to get ones that are the right height that I want and the right width. They're just a bit tricky. You've done very well here, having some that look like they're half pulled down, but the rest of these work very well on those windows.
I'm back outside and doing a bit of decoration on the outside. I like these hanging plants, especially for like a seaside cottage. They just have this feel of a beach house kind of thing to me. And oh yeah, this thing that goes over the door.
Yeah, whatever that's called.
Whatever that is, but it's cool, right?
Yeah, it's cool. I think it's covering up your little lights. There you go.
I'm actually going to be moving this door out in order to give it a bit more distinction.
Okay.
So I think you'll see me doing that now. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, so that kind of gives a bit of like an entryway, maybe a place to like leave your shoes, but also just gives a bit of added texture to the house, so it's not just like a straight up box on top of a box, but just there's a little bit of interest going on in the front. So yeah, I'm bringing out the upstairs as well to give it that flow through. And this, the railing in the front, it's a balcony, but it's not like a usable balcony.
It's just decorative.
Yeah, it's just decorative.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I was wondering.
Well, I just think it gives some nice trim to the house.
It does. And also makes it easier to clean the windows from the outside.
You can't get to it, though.
Well, somebody can to clean the windows. I don't know.
I will also be putting this house on the gallery, so yeah, if you guys want to put the house in your own games, then you can certainly add a door onto the balcony if you really want to use the balcony. Like, obviously, it's once it is downloaded into your town, I can't do anything about it. You can do whatever changes you want to. So
yeah, and there's a beach house. I think it can work in other places as well if you don't have cats and dogs expansions. Some of the items might not be there, but the shape, the bones of the place will be identical.
Yeah, there is me putting in that second bay seating area up in the top there. And oh, finally, getting started on bedrooms. Yay! So, as I said, I have been doing a sort of ocean color scheme throughout the downstairs, but upstairs, in this bedroom, I'm going for something warmer. I'm going for pink. Or, I guess a salmon color? Is it quite pink? I don't know how it looks to you being colorblind, but to me it looks kind of salmon colored.
Yeah, salmon.
And for this rug, as a bit of contrast, this is a light green. So bringing back some of that ocean theme again, but just to give it a bit of, I guess, a floral sense now, because it's pink and green together. So, yeah.
Okay. I'm just looking wide-eyed. Yeah, I'm a developer, designer at work, and often that involves colours, and people say, oh, I think this colour should be it's a little bit, too peachy. I'm like, well, I thought it was orange. Like, no, it's not orange, it's peach. I'm like, okay. But I did name 2 colours correctly today. I named one colour blush, and people agreed that the colour could be called blush.
Okay.
And there's another colour, but I can't remember what it was, but they agreed that my labelling of it was correct, so I was happy.
And here's just a little sitting area upstairs in the bedroom since there was space for it, and this window obviously overlooks the ocean. So I think those chairs, actually, I can't remember where they're from.
I feel like they might be from this pack, but I can't remember either.
No, they are. I think they are. Yeah.
They're pretty new.
Yeah.
It's either from this pack or whatever pack we got just before it.
Yeah, the dresser here and the stand-up wardrobe closet to the right, that's from the City Living pack, I do believe. Okay. Yep, and just adding
more
curtains in.
Yeah.
Yep. So, like I said before, I think I said before, this is going to be just a 2-bedroom cottage because that's all I had room for. This bathroom back here is going to be, like I said, the upstairs bathroom, so it's going to be a full set. It's got shower, sink, and toilet. And then there is this guest bedroom here.
So, yeah, you've got 2 bedrooms on one side of the house, little hallway obviously from the stairs, that bathroom, and then these 2 closed rooms on the far left of the screen.
Yeah, and that is because we, at the time of this video, are anticipating the laundry day pack.
Ah.
Yes. So I am leaving that space open for a laundry room.
Okay, that makes sense.
Could be a little bit dangerous to have a laundry room on the 2nd floor as opposed to a ground floor or a basement, but live dangerously, you know? Why
but also,
not?
yeah, it Sims, so it's going to be fine.
It'll be fine. Unless they've built in the capability for laundry machines to go bad and leak and all that stuff.
And it'd be fine for that to happen, but I think even if they leaked, the worst that happened, it could leak downstairs. Yeah, it's not going to cause any structural damage. It's not going to fall through the floor.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I went for a tin roof. I think that is because I felt sort of inspired by, like I said, I grew up in an oceanside town, and a lot of the houses that you see on the beach and on the marsh, because there's lots of marshland where I come from, they have tin roofs. And I'm not sure why exactly, if that's better for rain or something.
Metal roof, I don't know if it's tin specifically, but I remember someone telling me that actually these are stronger roofs or they're better quality than shingles like we have on our roof.
On which many people have on their roofs,
yeah, I think they're supposed to last longer, so maybe that makes sense. You'll obviously have to make sure if you're by the beach that it's not going to corrode with that salty sea air.
Well, I just sort of associate roofs like that with that kind of climate and that kind of geography. So yeah, I guess, yeah. Up here in this common area, I'm just putting some accent tables and things like that and trying to figure out the window situation up here as well. Yeah, those 2 windows I think are going to be the final versions.
Okay, so there's just one fireplace and that chimney stack's just going all the way up. No fireplace on the 2nd floor, obviously.
Yeah, because that landing is kind of right up to the wall there.
Yeah, you'd have to rotate your upstairs by 180 degrees or something. Don't do it.
Oh, I love this rug. I don't know if you can tell the sea green color of that rug, but that against the blue-gray of the dining table and the chairs I think is gorgeous. And anyway, out on the porch here, some seating. And I think that's important because, like we said, we made this wide porch for the Sims in this house to enjoy the ocean view. I wanted to put a grill in, so I realized I had to expand the porch on that side and also put a door out to it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, why not have... I think this house is now almost as wide as it could possibly be.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Like, why not maximize the space so you can enjoy the outside by the sea?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to do this house on like a 20 by 20 lot because I didn't want to build... For my first speed build in a while, I didn't want it to be a project that was too big. So I felt like a 20 by 20 cottage was probably the perfect size. And like I said, it still took me hours and hours. So yeah. Here is just the small amount of landscaping I'm going to be doing. Just some sea grasses and small plants here and there. I didn't want to go too overboard with it.
So when you're building a house like this, do you have a sense in mind of who would live here, or you just wanted to build a 2-bedroom house?
I did not have a sense of who would be able to live here, but I think once I started building the bedrooms, I started envisioning it as like a house for a couple or a single person with a pet. Speaking of which, I'm going to be putting in some pet stuff. Yeah.
Perfect.
I think of this house as being for a cat owner first, but since recording this video, I have put a couple of Sims in here with a cat, and I think I'm going to add a dog at some point because I think it would be nice for them to have a dog. But at the time I was building this, I thought of it as like a house for a couple who own a cat. So
there's a guest bedroom.
Yeah.
A bedroom for the couple and the whole house for the cat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
The whole house for the cat. Yes.
I mean, look at the top of those kitchen counters, those kitchen units. I'm sure the cat would love climbing up there and peeking out of those windows.
Yeah. There's a lot of surface area for that cat to enjoy, definitely. So yeah, it's not often that when I'm building I actually have like Sims in mind, but I do think of, in the process of building it, I feel like I start envisioning a character, not like a specific character, but just like characteristics of a person. I think in order to keep the house consistent, I think it makes sense to envision characteristics of whoever will be living there, especially when it comes to decorating. If you're just building, obviously the house can belong to anybody at any point, but once you start decorating the house, then you start thinking of personalities and things like the person would enjoy. Obviously, if they like to have flowers, then it makes sense to put lots of flowers around. And
right.
If they like wood furniture, then it makes sense. Things like that, like a certain type of style, you want to keep it consistent.
Modern? Is it colourful?
Exactly.
Is it more traditional? Yeah, that makes sense.
And yeah, I'm just, as I go through, I'm putting in little knickknacks and bits of clutter as well. Again, just that kind of personality coming through.
Yeah, and I think it's really hard probably to do a house which has very, very little clutter and make it feel lived in and nice and wonderful. I do think it's, for us when we build, it's important, like I think on TV shows as well, we've said this before, to put in all those little bits of visual detail with clutter and pictures and things. Just think it really does help make the house. So that's why you're putting in some pictures and paintings around the place here?
Yep, indeed. I'm just sort of experimenting here. Like I put a TV in the guest room, but I don't think that's going to last through to the final version. And also just a disclaimer, guys, the final version of the house, which I'll be putting on the gallery, is probably going to be like 90% the house that you see here, or 95% the house that you see here in this video. But as I mentioned, I did move some Sims in after recording this video, and that was because I wanted to do some testing of the house and make sure that things work and things make sense. So for instance, like the upstairs bathroom, when I had Sims living in the house, I realized that they couldn't use the shower because the toilet was blocking the shower.
Oops.
So the upstairs bathroom, for instance, had a couple of changes. There were little bits where I noticed, like, I forgot to put a trim here or forgot to do the wall here or something like that. So it did make sense for me to have the house be occupied for a little bit, and I made a few changes after having done the bulk of the recording. So whatever you see on the gallery, there might be like little differences here and there.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think in real life too, like you can go and tour a house and think it looks lovely or not lovely, and then when you have to spend a lot more time with it to see like, oh, there's a weird crack over here, or why is this door handle different on this door compared to other. Like you never notice that when you're just looking around a house quickly, and the same even building. There's so much to try and keep in your head when you're building. Even as you said, it's a kind of simple 2-bedroom house, but there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Both in the shape on the outside, the gardening, the interior decorating, the walls, the windows, the shape of the rooms inside. So I think spending time, any of us before we put something on the gallery to actually see, does it work? Can you live in it? Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. All right, so this is me basically just doing some small final touches. And I think this is the house basically done though. So I'm going to do some interior shots. Hopefully I get some good angles so that you can see what things look like, fully decorated and whatnot.
I think it looks really good. I think the setting is beautiful. I love that it doesn't have a direct road access. It keeps it away from the main busy road and makes it more isolated and special because the whole focus of this house is looking towards that beautiful beach. And that tin roof really does set off the light really nicely.
Agreed.
So here we have the outside of the house, the kitchen. Look at that.
My favorite kitchen. Yay, kitchen!
Until your next kitchen.
And the
Very
cozy, warm living room. Yeah. And here's upstairs as well. So you can see how that space works. And here's the shot of the bedroom seats and the bedroom set.
Beautiful.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed this speed build. Please let us know in the comments what you think, and let us know also if you plan to download the house from the gallery. That would be great to know about. And if you are new to our channel, feel free to subscribe because we've got plenty more Sims 4 on the way.
Thanks for watching.